Hey everyone, it's Anson here from Weekend Garage. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to fix your driver's area leak. Previously I showed you guys how to fix the rear window leak. Now we got one in the driver's footwell area. We're going to go through a TSB on how to remove your fender, to do a repair on the seam, and other possible leak areas. On a 2020 Ram Rebel, first owner with no sunroof. I've been getting a wet carpet lately, even though this car is parked indoors. So when I go outside for a short drive in the rain must have gotten down into the carpet somehow. I noticed because the carpets were wet every day, the rubber carpets, pulled it off. And I realized this was still wet. I thought it was from the snow, but it wasn't. So I pulled off this plastic piece right here. You pull it up, there's 3 tabs, and then you pull it this way, and it'll come right out. After that, we're gonna pull open these tabs. You can just do it with your hands, very easy. And then there's another tab in the back there. There's the hole. This one holds onto the wall. You just pull it out, put that black tab somewhere safe. I'm gonna peel back the carpet and diagnose where this leak is coming from. Some black stuff on there. That looks like mold possibly. Look at all that water come out. Look at that. You can rinse it out. Grab my towel and clean this up. And then we're going to grab a hose to diagnose where the water is coming from. Possibly from the fender or the body seam right here, or from a window drain up top. There's no leaves on the drain, but we're gonna double check just to confirm. So I'm just gonna wipe all this water away first. So sometimes this piece, it's not seated right, as you can see. This rubber, it's not squeezed hard enough against here, or there's inconsistencies on your build where it is not seated properly. So make sure that is done right first of all. We're going to do a water test to mainly verify where the water is coming from. But you can squeeze it to make sure it's seated right consistently all along. I feel like mine has popped up a little bit, but make sure that's seated properly. That's the first step after drying your carpets. Second spot is up here between the windshield and your roof rail cover, the plastic. Some vehicles, this is peeled back and not seated properly. If you've had a windshield replacement or you just had a Friday worker at the factory. So water can get in from here and then it'll go along the A-pillar in here and leak from inside in this area. That's where the water will come out from. Another way, if you have sunroofs, which I don't have in this vehicle, you got to clear out the sunroof drains. I think that's very common. First, we're going to do a quick water test. I'm going to pour water on the first suspected spot. See how it's going to drain. So that's going down fine. Now I'm going to open the door to see if any water has accrued inside. So no water is coming in on this test, so I know it's not the windshield. Now I'm going to check this seal with the water test. So to check this seal for the water test, the one down here, I'm going to start by pouring up here. Make sure it runs into the crack. Now we're going to open it up. No water from this test either. Now we're going to do the fender test. So I've popped the hood open. We're checking the drains. This is like one piece of leaf. Nothing too bad up here. I'm going to pull off the fender right here and check the seams inside of here. That's where it seems like it's leaking. So we're going to go ahead and pull off this fender. This is how you remove the fenders on a Ram 1500. This is a new body 2020 Rebel. What you're going to need to do is grab a 13 mil and a 10 mil and also a little pick tool, a flathead, to pull off these tabs. So we're going to start off with the 13 mil. It's on there pretty good. We're gonna put this somewhere safe. Once you get the two 13s out, we're gonna grab our 10. Take these off. You could also use a hand ratchet if you want. I'm going to use my impact just to save time. So we're going to grab our little flathead. And we're going to find the point where you can insert this flathead and turn. You're going to hear a click. And you can pull it out. This is what the tab looks like. So you want to put your screwdriver in here and bring it up. After that, the pinched part will narrow up, and then you can pull it straight up. Once it's pressed in, the tabs here will expand, and in that case you won't be able to pull the tab out. Now we're going to do this one right here, the one that looks like a U. It'll help here as well, because you'll be applying even pressure all around, as opposed to a single flathead. There we go. These two are now out. After you get the top piece out, this is how you bring the bottom piece out as well. Put your screwdriver under and just turn. On this trim piece, now we're going to slide it backwards towards the vehicle. There's two parts that slide in to the top of the radiator, so you just push it towards the vehicle and you pull it up. It'll come right out. Now we're going to have access to the bolts we need right here. There's another black tab right there. I'm going to grab our flathead and do the same thing that we did earlier. Now we got another 10 mil right here. Next up, we're going to remove this bolt right between the door and the fender. This is going to be a 10. So since the Rebel has fenders, or fender guards, we're going to go ahead and remove that too. These are 8 mils. We're going to finish removing these two. We're going to pull the liner down. So now that we've got all the bolts off, we're going to pull off the fender flare. So you just got to take your time and work your way around the fender, pulling it straight out. It might seem like you're breaking it at first, but it's fine. There we go. Okay, so when you get to the driver's side mud guard, to take this out, there's a push tab right here, and then there's the 8 mil. Once you take it off, you're going to grab it on the bottom and slide it out. As you can see, there's 2 screw holes. It slides in to hold it in place before you bolt it. And then we're going to release these 2 bolts right here. They're 13s, 2 13s to loosen up the front fender. So after you release the bolt down below, we're going to pry up this trim piece right here. This is going to give us access to this 10 right here. So to pry these open, it's 3 tabs that look like this that go in this hole. So you pry it straight up. So to take out the wheel liner, there's a bunch of 8 mil bolts all along here. I took it out so it's easier to show you guys. So it's 8 mils all along here. There's a bunch. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 of them on the edge where every one of these silver tabs are. So all along the wheel well, there's 9. And then there's another one here up on the front. And then a hidden one in the back and there, right by the strut, right here. This one's a black pull tab, which looks like this. These are one-time use, so this one snap. And then there is another 8mm right there. So just a few in the back. There's 3 in the back. And then another one down there. And then one more black push tab on this lower hole right here. So one up top for the black tab and one on the bottom. The rest are all 8mm. After that, you can take it out, put it somewhere safe. The front lower part, you don't have to take it off, as you can see. So after you guys took off the wheel well liner and you pulled off the fender flares, there's going to be a 10mm that sits here like that. We're going to release this long 10mm which holds the fender onto the front lower headlight housing guard. So when you're taking off the front lower trim here for your headlight, it's going to be stuck when you originally pull it. So to help, put your flathead over here and you turn. Once you turn, the plastic part won't be stuck in this metal shrouding anymore. And once again, you put your screwdriver here and you turn, just like that. Once you hear that click, these clips will release. And then you can pull this back. Careful not to scratch your paint. Just like so. That's where the clips are. We're not going all the way to the end. We're just opening it a little bit. To get this piece off, we're going to release the 3 remaining 10s right here. 1, 2, 3. Got one screw. It's inside the wheel well right there. Once you take the liner off, you're going to see it at the end. And we're going to release that. That is a 10mm. So if you've done this all correctly and you've released every single bolt, it should come out this easily. You can use a finger just to slide it out. You don't need to force or jerk anything. As you can see, it comes out just like that. No force required. If you need to jerk or yank on anything, you're probably missing a screw that you forgot to take off. So wherever it's tight, just go to that area and make sure the screws I showed you guys are all taken off. Now we're going to put this on top of the bed cover in the trunk. So now that we've taken off the front fender, you can diagnose your actual leaks with the garden hose. The TSB recommends you start hosing everywhere from these seams, which is the leak point. So like these points. Just start from the bottom with the garden hose and just work your way up. And this is why you need to take the fender liner off. As you can see, there's moisture in there. So this is why we need to take the fender liner off. We're going to seal up everything in here. The seam where the red stuff is coming out, that's where the water is ingressing into the vehicle. Another thing, while the fenders are off, you can get a flathead and clear it down there. In that hole, that's where the water drains from your windshield. Has come down. Water will go down there where the light is. Mine's already clean. But while we're at it, you might as well clean that drain. If you look up close here, it's actually pretty poorly designed as the water drains onto the side channel here. It's going to follow the flow here and just drain into the seam here, which goes down into here. And the body welds where it goes into the vehicle. Water doesn't actually flow over here and out the vehicle. It flows into this crack, you guys can see right there, and down into the body of the vehicle. That is why water is ingressing. So I'm going to be covering all that up as well, so water will flow smoothly over instead of into the metal sheeting, gathering humidity behind there, rusting, and going into the vehicle. Now it's going to shed outside and onto the floor instead of inside. It's going to be Gorilla Waterproof Patch and Seal. You can use other brands as well, but I'm going to spray this into the nooks and crevices and the existing seal to make sure it is properly waterproof. So everything's now protected from overspray, taped up and ready. I'm going to start from the top. I'm going to do 2 coats, so once this dry, I'm going to do another coat on top. I'm doing a thick layer, so the thick layer is going to seep into the holes and fill it all up and then dry off. If you want, you can wipe off the excess. Doesn't matter to me because the fender is going to be over it. And this is my personal vehicle, so I'm going to show you guys. It dries on pretty thick, as you can see. So now when it rains, it's going to slide over and the water is going to shed off instead of seeping into that hole. So I'm going to work on the lower portion now, all along the seam and under. We're going to be spraying the seams inside of the hole here. Make sure you start right from the very top and then work your way down. As you can see, there's already moisture in the existing seam. So now that we're waiting for the top part and the inner part to dry, we're going to work on these seams right here. We're going to spray some on the edge here and along the welds, or the pinch welds here. Just a light coat is good. Some here as well. Better to spray in light, consistent coats than a huge blob like up here. It looks nicer and the finish is more consistent. Now we're going to wait till this dries out before we do another coat. So I've waited a few hours now. We're now going to spray on the second layer. You're supposed to wait 24 hours per layer, but it's super dry where I live up here in Canada. As you can see, it's all dry. Nothing's transferring to my fingers. It's actually a good idea to wear gloves as the stuff doesn't come off. So I'll put on some gloves. And then we're going to go ahead and spray the second coat. As you can see, this is the same fix the Ram TSB states. So we're spraying along the weld seam from top to bottom. But the full water test will be in the daytime. I'm going to give it about 12 hours to dry, and then I'm going to spray with a hose top to bottom. Make sure there's no more leaks before I close everything up. As you can see, it takes quite a while. It takes quite a bit to take the fender off, so I want to make sure it's 100% sealed before I close everything up. Now we're going to spray the insides here. Just to speed it up, and then I'm going to do a third coat. But this is optional if you're happy with the result. That it's fully covering the seams, then you don't need to do a third coat. So make sure when you're spraying the seam all along here, where it turns around the corner here, right there, you spray that as well, because that's separation between the body. So in there, I'm going to make sure I get some in between the crack as well to fill it all back up. This is what the final product looks like before we let it sit overnight to dry. As you can see, there's no more crack between the metal. It's fully filled in. This used to be the high point, that's the low point. Now it's completely sealed. You can kind of see a shadow where it used to be. That's the high side, that's the low side. And there's an opening in between the two. Sealed all the way to the bottom. Even where this fender attachment holds onto, we sealed the top, the sides, and the bottom. So no Water is getting in. This hole is fully sealed. There's no more red exposed foam. Fully sealed top to bottom. Also down here we sealed the pinch weld and we sprayed over the existing leaky sealants. We got the backside as well, and we're going to let it sit till tomorrow morning where we come back at it. So the final point to check for leaks, the TSB states it's a body clip where the wire harness goes. So we're going to take off this trim, which we have earlier. If you look under here, where this gray clip goes into here, this hole, TSB states this could leak, so I'm going to keep this disconnected for now. We use this trim tool to pry it in and remove it until our water test tomorrow. I want to make sure that it leaks before I spray all that black stuff in here because it smells bad. I don't want the whole interior to smell like chemicals. So I'm going to confirm tomorrow after our water test before I spray some in here. But if you want, you can go ahead and spray off that hole as well before you put that clip back. So that concludes the tutorial on how to fix your driver's side footwell leak. To fully dry it out before I put everything back, I got a dehumidifier, also a hair dryer running on low. I'm gonna let it sit. I want it crisp and super dry before I close everything back up. We did the water test. Everything is put back together, looking nice. Hopefully this video helped you guys out. Let me know if you have any questions. You can leave them down below. Thanks for watching and have a great day.